Hey, what's going on? Brother Kamal Mahar here, back at it again. First things first, we're going to give our praise to the Father, Yahawah, by Sham, Yahawashi, by Sham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders I learned this truth from. Blessings to the Akim out there preaching his word with whole heart, true sincerity. And blessings to 144,000 and 1/3, first fruits, kingdom of heaven, the house of David, House of David, Salaki, house of David, the Biaf Dawadah, and the dead in Yahawashi shall rise first. First Thessalonians 4. And what's going on is confusion of faces, speaking in different tongues, looking in different nations. Today, I found this little clip of the Rfid chip. I believe it might be this year sometime, but I thought it was very interesting regarding, the Rfid chip and how it explains like the development of how, the elites, Rothschilds, Esau, so-called white man, what they're gonna do is how they condition the people's minds to develop them into the mark of the beast, which is the Rfid chip, radio frequency identification, and how they're going to, bring down, because you just can't, what's going to happen is, what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people rebellious against the Rfid chip as of now due to the fact that it just seems weird to them. Like, I don't know about putting a chip into my hand or my forehead or whatever the case may be. Right now, predominantly is the right hand or whatever. And it's like, they have like health concerns or, it just seems weird. GPS, location, and different things of that nature, which will be the case. But that's weirding people out. Where what they're doing now is I'm seeing that they're pretty much like softening the blow and developing into a situation where it's going to be like by default going to have to. One, they're like developing into a cashless society where cash is starting to become not welcome. Then they're putting like microchips inside your cards where we can actually just place the card onto something and pay a Google Play, Apple Pay, Android Pay. I think it's the same thing. Things of that nature, where it's just like, the chip is inside the card itself, and also chips inside passports, and different things of that nature, where it becomes. And then what they do next after that is they particularly not offer cash at their establishment, so that it'd be like, okay, unless you have a chip card, you can't buy and sell here at this particular station. We don't accept cash. So that'll be their way of just developing into it, where it becomes like you ain't got no choice because this is what we don't accept. And in order to get your resources correct and equip yourself with stuff that you need to do in order to buy, it's the only way you're going to buy, which in the long run, near future, will be the chip. And then you're not about to be able to buy or sell unless you got that chip. And so you can see how it's developing, where they're slowly getting into the things you can and can't do versus with cash and not cash, and then getting to chips and different things of that nature as far as how you're doing things. I'm going to play this clip about 5 minutes. I think I'll give it a go. I think the whole 5 was pretty much relevant, but it definitely does a good job of explaining the development, which is the End Time Survivors channel. I haven't subscribed to it, but I did see little pieces of the actual video where I seen in the spirit. It was like, okay, this is a good one to put up on how I'm seeing how it's developing right now. Because there is certain airports that doesn't require cash. I think it's American Airlines in Florida. If I'm not mistaken, if somebody knows about that, you can put that on the comments. Maybe correct me with whatever airport it was, but I'm pretty sure it was American Airlines, I believe, that doesn't accept cash already as of now. And the video is going to explain certain countries in Europe where they also, like, to get into a soccer arena, you have to have a certain chip card in order to get in, and accept no cash at all. So this is pretty much going to be globally at some point where, and I'm also betting there's going to be some type of economy crash, which more or less that's what's going to happen. But something devastating is going to make the economy crash, and then the American money becomes worthless, and they have to switch to a new currency in order to, be able to buy and sell and use merchandise and goods, which will be the chip. I mean, it's easy to see how things will develop, but I'm going to play this clip and, get into the scriptures.
I notice a number of videos on the mark of the beast are proclaiming that the mark has arrived and that it is already being used. In fact, nothing that has so far been used is an exact fulfillment of the prophecy. Even the microchip implants that a few people are using at the moment to buy and sell are not being put in the back of the right hand. They have been put in the upper arm and in the left hand. As such, they are precursors and not the mark itself. Some people have capitalized on such technicalities to rubbish everything.
All right, let me pause that for a second. Now, I understand the person is talking about what people are doing as of right now, but when, as prophecies say, which the Most High said, Yahawashi said how it's going to work, these particularly prophecies will go down where eventually, when the chip is mandatory, it will be in the right hand, or it can be the left. It's still the mark, which will be in the hand, predominantly the right. Especially a lot of people taking the chip now, miraculously by prophecy, is actually going the way the prophecies say, which is a lot of chips are in the right hand, even though he's stating left and upper arm and different things of that nature. But in the spirit, that's what's going on.
We're saying about where all of this is heading. In addition, there are less obvious precursors in the form of microchips that are used to access various things, even though they're not yet being implanted into the body. For example, a football club in the UK recently stopped accepting cash for admission to games. People now need a microchip card to get in. Every day, hundreds, thousands of shops are becoming more cashless to encourage people to use a microchip card in order for them to shop there. What is happening all over the world at the moment is part of the conditioning that precedes the actual implementation of the mark. People and institutions that are working on this overall economic change recognize that Bible prophecies about the mark still present some resistance from people who know about the prophecies. Little by little, the system is breaking down people.
Now, he's talking about people knowing the scriptures, which is a possibility this guy can be Jake. Maybe. You never know. Confusion faces are real. So, he could be in the spirit, could be a Jake. You have no idea. Talking about, but when it talks about people having resistance against the mark, knowing Bible prophecy, that's majority of the situation, predominantly the elect of Yahawashi, which the brothers, the prophets and servants know about the chip, and we know that Yahawashi we're gonna have faith in Yahawashi by not taking that mark, because 14, which I'll get into, explains what will happen if you take the mark of the beast, which is the Rfid chip, radio frequency identification that you're seeing, which is a grain of rice, like the size of a grain of rice in this portion of your hand, and will also soon be in the forehead as well. Some type of chip will be based upon the situation. But the elect of Yahawah, 144,000 and 1/3, they're going to know not to take that chip. And so we talking about Bible prophecy and people not taking the chip. It's the elect. Get that straight.
Resistance through precursors which are technically not the mark itself. They are particularly concerned about people like ourselves who know about the mark of the beast prophecy. Their actions are helping us to see the inconveniences that will come when the mark is fully implemented. And little by little, they are wearing down the resolve of many people to resist this trend. A secondary effect of all these precursors is that the younger generation is growing up to accept that this is the way life has always been and as it will be in the future. They will find it hard to question what is universally coming to be accepted as the new normal, which is microchipped transactions for everything they do. I and some of my friends have decided to draw the line now on some of these precursors of the mark as a form of self-discipline to prepare us for the kind of life that we will need to live when everything is in place for worldwide use of the mark. For example, years ago in Sydney, Australia, it became necessary to have a microchip in your car before you could cross the Sydney Harbour Bridge. We refused and just got used to crossing the river further upstream using smaller bridges. Little by little, more and more motorways around the city started using e-passes, so we stopped using them too. Then they started putting microchips into passports, and so we stopped travelling overseas when our current passports expired. This year, they've stopped selling paper tickets for bus and train travel in favor of microchipped Opal cards. So now we have to get around without public transport. One day soon, they'll be putting microchips inside driving licenses and other forms of ID. It is becoming harder and harder to buy things, especially over the internet, without some form of microchip credit card.
See? You see that? Now, see, that's just basically like happening in front of your face. You know what I mean? I'm speaking to the lost sheep, Israelites, so-called Negro, Latino, Native Indians. Listen, you can see what they're talking about. So you see how people try to rebel. They didn't cross the bridges, or they weren't trying to use their passports after it expired. But now it's becoming a situation where there's nothing they can do about it. And he said how it's becoming harder and harder to buy and sell because due to the circumstances of what they're doing into the microchipping cars now. So now the buses was getting crazy. I actually ride the bus from time to time, and it is a situation where you just tap on something. I don't see the chip outside, but it's probably still chipped in general. So where, you know, it's actually like a card now rather than like, you know, you can still use cash and coins, but it's also easier now where you can credit the card in order to just easily, you know, get yourself in by a device on the bus or the train station where you can just tap onto something and go doo-doo, and it just works. And so you can see what they're doing is they're making it really hard now to buy and sell unless you have these chip items, these chip cards or chip devices that you have in order to buy or sell. And you can see how it's getting harder, he said. It's going to come to a point where there's nothing you can do about it. Options and different things of that nature is going to be out the window unless you got that chip. You not buying or selling because we said so. Now it's like, you know what? I don't want to cross that bridge because you got to have some chip in your car. I ain't got that chip in my car and I ain't getting it. So I'm going to cross the bridge somewhere else. That's what they were doing. Then he was, what did he say? He was making it harder for the buses with that little one swipe thing. Now was the chip. Now they stopped riding the buses. And then their passports, they stopped going overseas because they had to put it, was when their passport expired, they needed a new passport with a chip in it. See, they have options right now where this option worldwide is not going to be there anymore. It's going to be forced and mandatory. So it's just crazy how this is developing. You can see it happening.
And certain government benefits are only being made available to people who've set up electronic cash accounts. All of this is causing more and more inconvenience. But it is also teaching us to count the cost of what it means to reject the mark. We think that it is easier to adjust a little bit at a time like this now than to wait until the last minute and discover too late that we do not have what it takes to let go of everything all at once. Little changes in our lifestyle now, like not using motorways that require microchip e-passes, are helping us to actually experience a small taste of what life is going to be like during the Great Tribulation. Mind you, the tribulation is coming, and we need to be ready for it. We've been saying that a lot on this channel, but sadly, a lot of Christians say this with their lips that they think this is going to happen, but with their actions, they do nothing to prepare. It's all just theory.
See, he's talking about actions to prepare where we don't need to prepare. That's carnal. You know what I'm saying? We have Yahawah, Yahawashi in order to get through. Faith in Yahawah, Yahawashi, we will be delivered and not taking that chip. If we got to die because we not taking that chip, so be it. Make it easiest for us. The dead in Yahawashi shall rise first. 1 Thessalonians 4 talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't no preparing. Our preparing is this word. And we know that, you know, having faith in Yahawah, Yahawashi, we'll be delivered. So that's a kick, that's a cut on that one as well.
Little or no practice. I seriously doubt that many of these people will have what it takes to reject the mark when it finally arrives.
Now, see, that may be true. Now, I'm gonna sit here and speak honest about that one. That very much will be true when it comes to certain circumstances. So this is the reason why the servants and prophets are making these videos, or why we're confessing the name of Yahawah, Yahawashi, because we have faith in him. Because there will be circumstances where people are saying they're going to reject it, but then again, they're going to be forced to. A lot of brothers talk about things like, there's a gun to your mom's head or your daughter's head. Take the chip or we're going to kill her. Most people who say they're not going to take the chip probably will. In that case scenario, and now your whole family is killed and you will be killed in the process due to Yahawah, Yahawashi saying not taking the chip. That's no faith. So you also have situations where you're starving to death and you can't buy nothing unless you got a chip. And so you become to a point where you come overly starved and like, I can't take this no more. I got to eat some food. You taking that chip in order to eat, like Esau did, where for a morsel of meat, he sold his birthright. It's going to be the same thing. He was super hungry. He chalked it right up and gave his birthright up, which he despised because he was so hungry, and chalked it right up. And that's what's going to happen in the future. That's why I pray for the spirit on me to be like, kill me, because I'm not taking that chip. And neither do I want to. So I pray to the Most High, Yahawashi, put a spirit on me that if I got to be a martyr, fine. If not, deliver me and have faith that without taking a chip, I'm still going to be eating and still going to be drinking regardless of how it works out. Either way, I'm enduring to the end. And that's what I'm praying for. Lord willing, I get that. He put the spirit on me, have that faith to be able to fight that. So that's what I wanted to say.
We recommend that others consider what we're doing now. That is, live without some of the conveniences that we've come to take for granted. Together we can share our experiences, including tips on how we've managed to circumvent various precursors, or otherwise live without some of the goods and services that we previously took for granted. As others have said here, I would like to survive the end times, and so I'm trying to listen to the leadings of God's Spirit, so that I can learn what it would take to live through the hard times that are ahead for all of us.
All right, listen. Sounds good, but we all know as Israelites, so-called Negro Latino Indians, Esau is the number one honchos is going to get taken out crazy for all the tribulation that they put our people through. So they're going to be one of the main ones getting killed off crazy. Not to mention with women and things, and the wicked 2/3 of our people, Israelites, so-called Negro Latino Indians, and Esau is definitely one of the ones that's going to have to go through recompense for what they have done to our people, taking land, murdering, all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's crazy how Esau believed that the Bible was talking about them, but they're never going to get salvation at all. They're going to be slaves. Just letting that be true. He can think. You know, he over there saying being saved and all that, but it ain't happening. Not to mention all the Edomites say Jesus Christ, which that's from Serapis. So, which comes from, do your research, comes from Ptolemy the first Soter, where Soter means savior, and he was an Edomite king of Egypt, where Israelites were living at like crazy, dwelling in that land. And what happened was he created his own god called Serapis, which is a mixture between Osiris and Apis the bull, which makes Serapis. And then Serapis later in that future, in this particular time frame, turned into so-called Jesus Christ. And so when people are saying Jesus Christ, they're praying to some Edomite god called Serapis, which the so-called Jesus Christ is a pale dude with long hair, with blonde, with hazel or blue eyes or whatever. Where our particular so-called God is named Yahawah. He is to be, exists, and the only begotten Son is not Jesus Christ, it's Yahawashi. So let that be known, which is a so-called Negro of melanin type skin. Let that be known. They throw that out there.
Thank you for your support. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, like, comment, and click the...
All right, that's enough of that. So now you can see how this is going to develop. I want to get into the scriptures. It's a banging background right there. Salakia. I messed that up. That mean he clicked that. There we go. So let's get into your scriptures. We're going to go to the infamous Revelations 13. And I believe it's, I think it might be 9. Actually 15. It said Revelations 13 and 15 say, and he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So you know the system is the image of the beast. It's the system, and if you don't worship the system, you're gonna be killed. So obviously, once you go into the 16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand and the foreheads. And that's the RFID chip. And so refusing to take the chip and abiding by the system, you will be killed, like 15 said. Which in our case scenario, as Israelites, so-called Negro Latino Native Indians, we fear the Most High, Yahawashi. He said, don't take the chip and endure to the end, even unto death. And so we not taking that chip. Either we're gonna be as martyrs or we're gonna get delivered through it. Either the two. That's what we praying for, have faith for. And it says, and that no man might buy or sell, say he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now let's get into well, you know what, Salakia, let me slow down for a second. Now you can see where it says, and that no man might buy or sell. So you see how it was already starting to get hard to buy because they don't have certain card chip in their cards in order to buy, because it's be turned into a cashless society. So you can see how it's developing already. Once this becomes mandatory, you're going to either get killed or you can't buy or sell at all unless you got that chip. It's craziness. And we're going to go to 14 and 12. No, I'm sorry, Salakia. And 9 through 11. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, the system, and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of Yahawah thy power, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of indignation of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. The Lamb will be Yahawashi, ignorantly named Jesus Christ. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up from forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. That's very clear cut. Now, my favorite example will always be, you ever get burnt before on a small level? You ever put your hand on something hot, like real quick? Just imagine that times 50. And that little you just did was in a moment where this is going to be fire and torment and no rest day nor night. So you're going to be constantly being burnt with fire and brimstone all day, every day, all day, every day, forever. That's just not even worth it. You tripping. Israelites, so-called Negro Latino Native Indians, do not take the chip because of this scripture right here. Fear the Lord, Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi, and do not take the chip, because if you do, you just basically sold off your right to the kingdom of heaven. And instead of the kingdom of heaven, you will, in the smoke of their torment, ascend up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever received the mark of his name. Tripping. That's some scary shit. I'm sorry. Hope this is edifying. We'll give all praise to the Father, Yahawah. He is to be, exists, Bahashem in the name, and only begotten Son, the Lord and Savior. He delivers. Yahawashi, Bahashem in the name, and the Holy Spirit, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders that learn his truth from. Absolutely. Blessings to the Akim out there preaching his word with wholehearted truth and sincerity. And blessings to the one-third, 144,000 first fruits kingdom of heaven, the house of David, the Biyaf Dawadah. And the dead in Yahawashi shall rise first, 1 Thessalonians 4. Speak about that and what's going on, confusion of faces, speaking in different tongues, looking in different nations. Shalom.